What's going on, California? Welcome to the California Reality Check. This channel is all about pulling back the curtain on what's really happening in the state. We break down government corruption, wasted tax dollars, failed policies, and projects that never seem to deliver. All backed by facts, timelines, and accountability. No spin, no party loyalty, just a real look at where your money goes and why it matters. If you believe California deserves transparency, you're in the right place. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit those noties so you stay up to date and informed.
It sure looks like the future, an animated version of California's high-speed rail. And it sounded really cool, too. LA to San Francisco at more than 200 miles an hour. No planes, no cars, no fuss. That's why Californians voted for it back in 2008, passing a $10 billion bond measure for a train that was projected to eventually cost $34 billion.
Well, we start tonight with debate over California's high-speed rail. As always, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Alex Bell. The bullet train meant to eventually connect Northern and Southern California has hit endless roadblocks, and now California is officially moving forward without federal support. The state dropped its July lawsuit against the Trump administration, which challenged the slashing of $4 billion in federal funds. Opponents of high-speed rail say that Governor Newsom is admitting defeat, but supporters say the project will continue, eventually eluding private investors could soon be arriving. ABC's G. Nguyen has been reporting on this project for the past year and is here with what might happen next.
Well, Alex, for the most part, it will be business as usual for the high-speed rail project, especially since the legislature committed $1 billion a year to the project through 2045. But state leaders and the authority have said state funding will not be enough to finish it. How long will that last, and who will continue the funding for the rest of the project? That's still up in the air.
What's going on, California? Welcome to the California Reality Check. Today we're talking about one of the biggest taxpayer-funded failures in state history, California's high-speed rail project. This was sold to voters as a revolutionary system that would connect Northern and Southern California, reduce traffic, lower emissions, and modernize transportation. Let's fast forward to years later, billions spent, deadlines missed, and no functional high-speed rail connecting the places that actually need it. So let's break this shit down. What went wrong, why it matters, and how other countries like Japan got it right while California didn't. So let's take a look at what California lawmakers promised. California voters were promised a modern bullet train, faster travel between LA and San Francisco, less traffic on freeways, economic growth, and a project that would largely pay for itself over time. Instead, what taxpayers got was exploding costs, constant delays, a project that doesn't even reach Southern California, and construction happening in the middle of fucking nowhere. And we had billions spent for what? Taxpayers have already poured tens of billions of dollars into this project, yet no completed high-speed rail line, no connection to LA, no connection to San Francisco, no relief for Southern California traffic. At this point, Californians are paying for consultations, land acquisitions, lawsuits, and administrative costs, not actual transportation solutions. This is an infrastructure. This is a bureaucracy on rails. It's straight up fraud. Let's talk about how the construction started out in the middle of nowhere, and that's one of the biggest criticisms. The rail is being built through sparsely populated Central Valley areas, so let's be real. If it doesn't help LA traffic, it doesn't help San Diego commuters, it doesn't reduce Bay Area congestion, it doesn't solve the state's biggest transportation problems, that was supposed to connect major economic hubs, not farmland that doesn't benefit daily commuters. And then we could talk about how it does nothing for Southern California. Southern California has some of the worst traffic in the country, yet no relief for the 405, no relief for the 5, no relief for commuters driving hours every day. So the people paying most of the gas taxes, income taxes, and cost of living aren't even helped by this project. That's a massive failure in planning and priorities, so thanks a lot, Gavin Newsom. One country we can look to that did it right, though, is Japan. Now let's compare our high-speed rail to Japan's high-speed rail. Japan built their high-speed rail decades ago, connected major cities efficiently, delivered projects on time, stayed close to budget, made rail travel more reliable and everyday option for millions. Their trains are fast, clean, on schedule, profitable, and integrated into daily life. Japan didn't get stuck in endless red tape, political fighting, and cost overruns. They focused on execution. And the real issue is government efficiency. This isn't about trains, this isn't about how California manages taxpayer money when projects take decades, multiply in cost, deliver none of the promised results. That's not progress, that's mismanagement. And the worst part, there's no accountability. What is Gavin Newsom and his office doing, and why are they not being held accountable? So let's compare California's high-speed rail to Japan's high-speed rail. The original high-speed rail in Japan was built in 1964, connecting Tokyo to Osaka. The total cost at the time was 380 billion Japanese yen. Japan's population and economy were already strong, but they built a functional high-speed rail nonetheless. So to compare fairly, we need to convert the 380 billion yen into in 1964 into today's terms. In 1964, the yen to dollar rate was roughly 360 yen equals $1. So 380 billion yen equates to about $1.6 billion in 1964. After adjusting for U.S. inflation from 1964 to 2025, that's roughly 900% unfortunately, that 1.6 billion becomes roughly 10 billion in today's dollars. That's a rough estimate, but directionally accurate. So Japan built a world-class high-speed rail system for about $10 billion in today's money, and it opened on schedule, provided real commuter value, and transformed national transport. So let's look at California's high-speed rail. The official estimates for Phase 1, San Francisco to LA, have ranged over time, going from 89 billion and ballooning all the way up to 128 billion, depending on the routing, inflation, and assumptions. Some analysis peg the likely total cost closer to 135 billion once all the overruns are counted. And with tens of billions already spent, distributed on land, consultants, construction, staging, legal battles, etc., the system still doesn't reach Los Angeles, serve Southern California commuters, or operate as a high-speed rail line yet. So let's look at the cost per mile, and we'll go apples to apples on this one. Let's look at the dollar per mile. Japan's high-speed rail going from Tokyo to Osaka, distance is 320 miles, adjusted cost is 10 billion, that's 31 million per mile, and that's adjusted for inflation. California, San Francisco to LA distance is 380 miles, estimated cost 100 billion, that's mid-estimate. That equals 260 million per mile. That means California's per mile cost is roughly 8 times higher than what Japan paid, even after adjusting Japan's historic project into modern dollars. So what does this show? Japan delivered a system that was on time, on or near budget, actually connected large population centers, provided mass transit that's still valued today. California has spent tens of billions, built partially constructed that doesn't even serve major cities yet, seen cost estimates absolutely balloon, failed to reduce traffic or provide a completed line, and they still haven't even laid not 1 foot of track yet. And why does this matter for California? This isn't just about trains, it's about government execution, taxpayer value, and whether billions of dollars are being turned into actual public benefit, or slowly eaten up in planning, consulting, and delays. Japan's project proved high-speed rails can be done. California's current project shows how money alone isn't enough. You need planning, discipline, and execution. And Gavin Newsom's office isn't getting it done. We have to get this guy out of office. So my final thoughts? California didn't fail because the high-speed rail was a bad idea. California failed because the project was poorly planned, poorly executed, and buried under bureaucracy. Other countries proved that this could work. California proved how not to do it. So if you think the taxpayers deserve better, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're tired of government waste, subscribe to the California Reality Check. And let me know down in the comments, should this project be scrapped, reworked, or held accountable? And what about Gavin Newsom and his office? They definitely need to be held accountable because we know they're responsible for fraud. As always, it's been the California Reality Check, where we keep it real, we keep it raw, and we keep it $110 for the Californians. It's X-Ray signing off, y'all.